Vice-Chancellor Administration, Deputy Vice-Chancellor Academic, Deputy Vice-Chancellor Research, Innovation and Strategic Partnerships, Registrar, University Librarian, Provost of the College of Medicine, Provost of the Postgraduate College, the Dean of the Faculty of Agriculture, Deans of other faculties and of students, Directors of institutes and centers, Heads of departments, the 10th and the 12th Vice-Chancellor of this university, former Vice-Chancellor Bayero University Kano, Professor Atthairu Jega, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. The 45th in the series of university lectures will be delivered today by Professor Mohammed Kuta Yahaya of the Department of Agricultural Extension and Rural Development in the Faculty of Agriculture. Mohammed Kuta Yahaya was born on 20 October 1962 in his ancestral clan of Jima, Doko district in Lavun local government area in Bida Emirate of Niger State, with the families of Alhaji Man Yahaya of blessed memory and centenarian mother Hajiya Fatima Yawu Yahaya. He attended GTC Ushishi and the College of Education Mina before matriculating at the University of Calabar, where he obtained a Bachelor of Science in Agricultural Science, second class upper division in 1991. He proceeded to the University of Ibadan, where he obtained a master's degree in 1992 and a PhD in 1995, both in agricultural extension. Professor Yahaya began his teaching and research career in the Department of Agricultural Extension and Rural Development as a teaching assistant in 1993 and later as assistant lecturer in 1995. He rose through the ranks and was promoted senior lecturer in 2001, reader in 2005, and professor of Agricultural Extension and Rural Development in 2008 with specialization in development communication. He has championed scholarship in development communication and social engineering to positively affect critical areas of development in society, including an understanding of the social change processes using innovative approaches which earn him recognition and awards in the course of his professional engagements. Professor Yahaya is a 1993 ZAD Scholar for Excellence in Agriculture, MKO Abiola Postgraduate Scholar in 1994, and laureate of the Council for the Development of Social Research in Africa, CODESA. He was awarded the MacArthur Foundation Grant for Leadership Development Program in 1997. He also won the National Research Foundation of South Africa Grant in 2021 on COVID-19 Challenge and TEDFund Grant in the 2021-2022 round. He has served the University of Ibadan in several capacities, some of which include member, 50th Annual Celebration Committee 1998, member, Departmental Postgraduate Committee between 1996 and 2006, Postgraduate Coordinator in 1995 and 1996, and between 2005 and 2006, member, Departmental Publications Committee between 2001 and 2002, departmental representatives in the Faculty Computer Committee between 1991 and 2002, member, departmental representative in the Practical Year Training Program between 2002 and 2003, and director, University Media Center between 2005 and 2007. Professor Yahaya facilitated the establishment of the second campus radio in Nigerian university system, Diamond FM that was commissioned in 2008 by the 60th Convocation Lecturer, Dr. Muazu Babangida Ali. Professor Yahaya was also member University Mission Research Project between 2005 and 2008, member University of Ibadan Advancement Center between 2014 till date, member Senate Council Committee on Honorary Degrees and Fellowship between 2015 and 2018, member Senate Council Committee on Naming of Streets and Buildings between 2018 and 2021, member Senate Representative on the board of Otumba Tuashe National Pediatric Center between 2018 and 2021, and member UI at 70th Anniversary Celebration Committee between 2018 and 2020. Outside the University of Ibadan, Professor Yahaya served his home state of Niger in various capacities between 2007 and 2015. First, as the Secretary to the State Government, and later as Chief of Staff and Commissioner in the Ministries of Information and Communication and Agriculture and Rural Development, with concurrent responsibility for tertiary education. He is a member of the Governing Council of the University of Maiduguri, Borno State, and contributed to the establishment of IBB University Lapai and Abdul Kadir Kure University Mina, where he now served as Pioneer Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of Council. Professor Yahaya is now serving as the Chairman of the Implementation Committee after facilitating the establishment of Abdul Salami Abubakar University of Agriculture and Climate Action, Mokwa. He is presently overseeing the conversion of the Niger State Polytechnic Zungeru to Abubakar Imam University of Science and Innovation. He currently serves, clap very well. He currently serves as the Secretary of the Presidential Livestock Reforms Implementation Committee, chaired by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, and co-chaired by Professor Atthairu Jega, OFR. Professor Yahaya is editor, Nigerian Journal of Agricultural Extension between 2001 and 2006. He is also secretary to the local organizing committee of the 12th Annual Congress of the Nigerian Rural Sociological Association. Professor Yahaya is a member of many learned and professional bodies, particularly the International Association of Media and Communication Research, the African Council for Communication Education, Agricultural Extension Society of Nigeria, the Nigerian Forum for Agricultural Advisory Services, and the Rural Sociological Association of Nigeria. Professor Yahaya is a fellow of the Agricultural Extension Society of Nigeria and a fellow of the Nigerian Institute. Professor Yahaya was honored by the Etsu Lupe with the pioneer traditional title of Magata Kadan Lupe, which means chief scribe, and the Waziri of Ibadan land by Oba Takwa. He has also served as the chairman of the Executive Council of the University of Ibadan Muslim Community. In addition to his career pursuit, he has consulted for many national and international organizations of many global initiatives, including the World Bank and UNICEF, in the area of positive deployment of communication strategies to achieve development objectives, among other key interventions. The pursuit of career goals and excellence have taken him to several countries, including the United Kingdom, the United States, Germany, France, Austria, Belgium, Switzerland, Italy, Brazil, India, Saudi Arabia, Ethiopia, United Arab Emirates, Gambia, just to mention a few. His hobbies include photography, playing sports and tennis, and is also a football enthusiast. Professor Yahaya has published over 150 scholarly publications in reputable national and international outlets, and also books, chapters in books and conference proceedings. He has successfully supervised 120 undergraduate students, over 100 postgraduate students, and 5 doctoral students. 2 of them are already professors. He is currently supervising 3 other doctoral candidates. Professor Yahaya is happily married to Hajara M. Yahaya and Hawa M. Yahaya, and he is blessed with children: Ramatu Lamin, Mohammed Baba, Yahaya Babangida, Usman Sabir, and Abubakar Sultan, and grandchildren, and still counting. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I now invite Professor Mohammed Kuta Yahaya to present the university lecture. It's titled Decolonizing Food Security for Enduring Multi-Sectoral Pathways to Poverty Mitigation in Nigeria, with the following topics. First, for today, colonizing of Nigerian agriculture and its consequences. Second, decolonization of food security and emerging champions. Third, multi-sectoral options in decolonization of food security in Nigeria. Professor Mohammed Kuta.
The Vice-Chancellor, Deputy Vice-Chancellor Administration, Deputy Vice-Chancellor Academy, Deputy Vice-Chancellor Research Innovation Strategic Partnerships, Registrar, Bursar, University Librarian, Provost of College of Medicine and of the Postgraduate College, Dean of the Faculty of Agriculture, Deans of other faculties and of students, Directors of institutes, centers, heads of departments, special guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The tradition of delivering public lectures at the University of Ibadan dates to its establishment. The earliest documented lecture, titled Bilingualism, was delivered in 1948 by Professor Christopherson of the founding Department of English during the university's foundational year as a College of the University of London. Between 1948 and 1970, public lectures were presented sporadically under different names. However, in 1971, the Senate formalized the format for inaugural lectures and established the annual convocation lectures, which were mostly presented by external speakers, unlike the inaugural ones restricted to university professors. The 16th university lecture in 1989 was delivered by Oladiko Akekwe, who distinguished the difference between inaugural lectures and university lectures, and submit that university lectures address broader society concerns with an intellectual depth, so-called, meaning no focus on higher ranks. Also, the 13th Vice-Chancellor of the University of Ibadan, Professor Adebowale, FAS, is also of the candid opinion that the lecture throw light on contemporary issues and offer solutions, recommendations that will be of value to the Nigerian society at large. Since the Senate's 1971 approval of the university lectures, 44 have been delivered, with the first in 1973, marking the university silver jubilee. According to a professor from that era, the first lecturer, Professor Yahaya, requested a full year to prepare a timeline, now deemed too short. Unlike inaugural lectures, where each faculty member presents annually, only one faculty nominates a professor per year for the university lecture trilogy. In the old Faculty of Agriculture and Forestry, 5 of such lectures have been delivered, with the current being the first in the new Faculty of Agriculture. This is the second from the Department of Agricultural Extension and Rural Development. The first was delivered in 1989 by Professor Ogbeni. I must extend my gratitude to the Dean of the Faculty, Professor Omojola, for nominating me for this role, which has granted me another opportunity to deliver a university-wide lecture after delivering my inaugural lecture 6 years ago, precisely on July 11, 2019. The annual university lecture that have been delivered by the Faculty of Agriculture are, and not surprisingly, focused on the sustainable development of Nigerian agriculture through improved resources management, enhanced food production, and support of small-scale farmers to improve the quality of human existence. The first lecture by Victor Enuga in 1976 was about interplay between livestock and herbage production, improving well-being and fostering sustainable food systems. The second lecture by Quinus Antonio was more about actionable strategies for transforming Nigerian agriculture, focusing on the need for innovative practices and policies. The third lecture by Joseph Ogbeni, who was my teacher in the field of agricultural extension and rural development, explored the critical role of agricultural extension in empowering small-scale farmers, providing a roadmap for their integration into Nigeria's agricultural development. The fourth lecture delivered by Adebowale provided a comprehensive analysis of the state of agriculture in Nigeria, identifying challenges and opportunities for growth. After 50 years, the fifth and the last lecture from the Faculty of Agriculture and Forestry was delivered by an agronomist, Ayo Ade Ogunkule, now emeritus professor, who was the 39th university lecturer. He sensitized his audience to the urgent need for sustainable soil management practices to ensure the long-term viability of agricultural resources. In this 45th lecture, I have chosen to address the critical issues of breaking the barriers in food security in our nation. While, like many previous lecturers from our Faculty of Agriculture, I will touch on the themes of food security and agricultural development. My primary emphasis will be on the former. I hope to take us on a journey analogous to that of our agricultural extensionists who have done intensive examination of the overwhelming influence of colonization on the nation's food security, even years after the colonial rule. In this lecture, I will highlight the deep-seated effects of colonialism on Nigerian food security and how they continue to impact on the country today. The journey we embark will trace the historical trajectory of agricultural policies introduced during the colonial era and how they reshape food production and distribution systems. By examining the historical framework, we can understand the roots of the current food security issues and explore pathways for decolonization. This journey will also draw parallels on how agricultural extension scientists have looked to provide innovative solutions that are deeply rooted in indigenous knowledge, rejecting colonial models that have historically sidelined local farming practices. In exploring this critical discourse, it is essential to acknowledge Professor Kuta Yahaya as the leading authority in the decolonization scholarship endeavors. His prolific scholarly works have illuminated the intersections of colonial legacies and food systems in Africa, offering nuanced frameworks which has provided a valuable insight and a robust academic foundation for advancing transformative strategies in food security and poverty alleviation. Through his exploration, I will emphasize the need to decolonize food security by integrating local knowledge, customs, and practices that were once marginalized during colonial times. The journey will also challenge the conventional approach to agricultural development that will still mirror colonial policies, often prioritizing foreign methodologies and systems over Nigeria's rich, diverse agricultural traditions. To decolonize food security is to acknowledge the harm caused by colonial practices and to move forward with a renewed sense of ownership over food production, promoting sustainable practices that are more suited to local needs. In addition, it is noteworthy that despite being a multi-billion-dollar industry with immense growth potential, Nigeria's livestock sector has yet to reach its full capacity due to persistent constraints and years of underinvestment. To fully utilize and realize this potential, it is crucial to tackle these challenges across the value chain and prioritize development of the livestock sector. My quest for this has been amplified in the last decade of interrogating the issues of various conversations of finding solutions to cattle rustling, coordination of national conversation on conflict mitigation, to most recently coordinating the presidential initiative on livestock reforms implementation across the country, and sharing experiences and success stories nationally and internationally. As we journey through these layers of history and development, the ultimate goal is to find pathways that ensure Nigerian food security while honoring its agricultural heritage. However, the journey does not end up merely in identifying the problems, but learning from past experiences, where facts and figures shape our practicable, actionable solutions. Therefore, in this lecture, I will explore how decolonization of food security can occur, policy shifts, grassroots movements, and integration of the indigenous agricultural knowledge into modern systems. By retracing the historical colonial agricultural policies, we will see how empowering local farmers and embracing self-sufficiency can lead to a more food secure Nigeria. This will involve revisiting the relationship between colonial powers and the Nigerian agriculture, unveiling both the structural challenges and the growth opportunities, as well as showcasing emerging champions and worthy examples. Colonization of Nigerian agriculture and its consequences. Africa's persistent struggle with poverty, malnutrition, instability are deeply rooted in the structural legacies of Western colonization. Despite formal independence, the continents remain entangled in economic structures that perpetuate its exploitation and underdevelopment. This analysis, inspired by African expert Father Kabo, who explores the unfinished business of decolonizing these economies, the structures, and allied the systemic issues that maintains Africa's subjugation. Hence, colonialism was never designed for development. It was a system of extraction and abuse, and economic growth imposed on Africa during the colonial times continue to dominate its global positioning today. These roles are characterized by three key aspects. One, provider of cheap raw materials. Africa remains the primary source of inexpensive raw materials for the industrial world, a role unchanged since colonial times. Two, consumer of modern technology. The continent is positioned as a consumer of technology and industrial products from the global north, furthering perpetual dependency at the expense of homegrown initiatives. Number three, dumping ground for obsolete technology. Africa is the recipient of outdated technology under the guise of development cooperation, job creation, and technical assistance. This perpetuates its marginalization in the global value chain. These dynamics have locked Africa in the bottom of the global economic hierarchy, with prevalent socioeconomic exclusion, poverty, destitution, armed conflict, insurgency, hunger, and widespread malnutrition. The devastating consequences are visible manifestations of colonial structures, evident in external debt dominated in foreign currencies such as United States dollars and euro, limiting fiscal policy space, symptomatic of deeper structural issues rooted in colonial legacies. Therefore, Africa's deficit in food, energy, and manufacturing are direct outcomes of the colonial economic designs. Regarding the food deficit, Africa imports 85% of its food, a stark contrast to the colonial rule as the breadbasket of European powers. The 1955 Treaty of Rome, Europe's common agricultural policy, provided heavy subsidy for European farmers, displacing African agriculture. African farmers were forced out of business because they couldn't compete with the subsidized wheat and corn coming from the global north. And agriculture was structured to focus on cash crops like coffee, tea, tobacco, cocoa, and other export commodities rather than local consumption. As a result, Africa now consumes what it does not produce and produces what it does not consume, leading to severe food insecurity. It is heavy agricultural subsidies to produce the core crops in Europe, such as corn, wheat, soybean, and crop food security items. Energy deficit also plagued the continent with significant energy shortages limiting industrialization and development. Furthermore, Africa's industrial capacity remains underdeveloped, reinforcing dependency on imported goods and technology. Figure 1, 2, 3 further depicts key statistics to Africa's challenge and proportion of Africa's agricultural export, cash and other crops, and Africa's contribution to Europe agricultural needs between 1930 and 1940. Historical background of Nigeria's agriculture. Agriculture has long been the backbone of Nigerian economy, providing employment for a significant portion of the population and contributing substantially to the nation's gross domestic product, GDP. Over the years, the sector has undergone various transformations, with the colonial era marking the beginning of significant agricultural production and export. Following independence, Nigeria's agricultural landscape shifted as the country worked to overcome challenges like inconsistent data, limited technology, and political instability. However, the sector roles remain central to the food security, creating jobs and diversifying the economy. In recent years, Nigeria has expressed renewed interest in agricultural development, focusing on key commodities like cassava, groundnut, palm oil, and others. While Nigeria's agricultural export, particularly oil palm and cassava, experienced notable growth, challenges persist in optimizing production for global competitiveness. In the historical trajectory, Nigeria's agricultural sector is marked by shifts across different eras, from colonial export-driven policies to post-independent self-sufficiency goals. However, the modern era has been seen significant advancement in agricultural technologies and data collection systems, which have played a crucial role in shaping agricultural production. Today, Nigeria's agricultural output has expanded, and many farmers are adopting innovative technologies such as satellite imagery and remote sensing to monitor crops and improve technology. These technological advancements are essential for overcoming the challenges of related inconsistent data and limited resources. Despite the improvements in the agricultural sector still faces challenges that limit its potential, whereby these issues not only impact on the accuracy of agricultural forecasting, but also limit the ability of the farmers to make informed decisions regarding crop production. Addressing this gap is critical for enhancing the sector's efficiency and sustainable growth. As Nigeria continues to work towards agricultural modernization, it is important to explore key trends, challenges, and opportunities that will shape the future of its agricultural sector. This analysis looks at various aspects of agricultural production, export trends, and technological innovations that are transforming the industry. Through a detailed examination of production statistics, export values, and technological solutions, we can better understand the evolving landscape of Nigeria's agriculture and the steps needed to continue the growth. Poverty reduction and food security. Food security and poverty reduction are deeply intertwined in Nigeria, as agriculture is still a major source of livelihood for most of the population, particularly in rural areas, where 70% of the Nigerians are involved in agriculture, either directly or indirectly, and about 90% of the food production is carried out by small-scale farmers who often operate under precarious conditions. And as poverty increases, these farmers face numerous constraints that limit their productivity, including limited access to land, credit, modern inputs, and markets. These issues of food security is exacerbated by several factors, including high population growth, environmental degradation, poor infrastructure, and limited government support for small-scale farmers. Food security in Nigeria is not merely an issue of insufficient food production, but also inability of people to access food, high rates of poverty, especially in the rural areas, where many households do not have financial resources to purchase food, leading to chronic hunger and malnutrition. In addition, conflict in regions such as the Northeast has displaced many farmers, further reducing agricultural productivity and food availability. Addressing food security through poverty reduction initiative is crucial for Nigeria's socio-economic stability. Investment in rural infrastructure, education, and healthcare are essential to ensure that the smallholder farmers can increase their productivity and contribute to food security. Programs aimed at increasing access to finance, land reforms, and the provision of modern agricultural input are also crucial. Without addressing the poverty that traps millions of Nigerians in food insecurity, it will be impossible to achieve sustainable development goals and or long-term food security agenda. Nigeria's failure to transform the lives of poor who make up most of its population, despite provision of resources, is indeed a developmental tragedy. With natural endowments such as fertile agricultural land, solid minerals, as well as oil and natural gas deposits that make it Africa's largest producer and the 13th largest world producer of the same commodity in the world, it is appalling to note that poverty pervades the nation. The severity of poverty in Nigeria, however, differs by region. Indeed, Nigeria poverty profile by geopolitical zones indicates that poverty is most profound in northern Nigeria, particularly in the northwest and northeast geopolitical zones. Figure 4 illustrates the multidimensional analysis of poverty across geopolitical zones by the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, which clearly show that the northwest Nigeria shows the highest incidence of poverty in all considered dimensions, with 70% and 77.4% categorized as living in absolute poverty and relative poverty, respectively. The northeast region closely follows, with 51.5% facing food poverty and 59.5% and 67.5% considered absolutely poor and relatively poor. In north-central Nigeria, 59.5% and 67.5% categorized as absolute poor and relatively poor. Contextually, southern Nigeria fares slightly better, with food poverty affecting only 41%, 35.5% and 25.5% of the population in southeast, south-south and southwest regions, respectively. Hence, Nigeria's significant economic progress has been toward worsening the quality of life of its people. It is a perplexing situation as the level of poverty appears incongruous with Nigeria's immense wealth. Closely tied to poverty situation is the challenge of food security that Nigeria is currently confronting. Recent analysis indicate that Nigeria's food security situation remains critical. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, FAO, has projected that by 2025, lean season, June to August, approximately 33.1 million Nigerians will face high level of food insecurity, making 7 million increase from the previous year. This escalation is attributed to economic challenges, record high inflation, climate change impact, and insurgency in the northeast and banditry in the northwest. The heavy reliance on food imports has contributed to the inflation of food prices in the nation. When a country heavily relies on food imports, there is a risk that higher international prices could significantly impact on both government and household budget, depending on the pass-through from international prices to the extent of domestic consumption. Undoubtedly, this economic pressure will be more pronounced in households that allocate a substantial portion of their income to fulfilling their food requirement. This is attributed in part and to a slight increase in local food production, but most importantly, the nation's status as a net importer to offset food deficit. Data from 2019 Global Hunger Index score of 27.9 show that Nigeria ranks 93rd out of 117 countries and outperforming only 24 countries in the list. This portrays a concerning scenario for Nigeria with higher index score that signifies a higher prevalence of hunger. Considering this escalating GHI score, one of the highest globally, hunger prevalence in Nigeria emerges as a critical issue, posing severe crisis for the country. Attributing the sluggish progress in mitigating food security in Nigeria to poverty is not unfounded, as research indicates that poverty contributes to hunger and conversely insufficient nutrition, which lead to ill health, potentially perpetuating poverty. Therefore, both poverty and food insecurity serve as mutually reinforcing factors. The pattern is more pronounced in a section of the country according to MBS, and therefore we need to look at it for both urban and rural dichotomies, with a concentration in rural regions where the majority of the country's population reside. Persistent food insecurity in Nigeria can be attributed to various factors, including subsistence nature of agriculture practiced by some farmers, which with limited access to education, land, credit, and technology, especially for women, who play a crucial role in diet and nutrition and constitute a significant proportion of those engaged in agriculture. Other factors may be attributed to import surges, and additionally, the security challenges in certain parts of Nigeria is also a tough time, while recent liberated areas are beginning to rekindle hope once again. Overview of agricultural production performance in Nigeria. Though obtaining data across some agricultural commodities across era was very difficult, available information offers some insight into trends and significant development for certain commodities. Figure 10 to 18 present an overview of the production capacity of the specified crops during the colonial era, post-colonial era, and modern era for rubber, cotton, groundnut, sugarcane, sesame seed, cassava, oil palm, rice, maize production respectively. A key observation in the transformation of the cassava and oil palm industries revealed that due to increased focus on local food security and its diverse industrial uses, there was an upsurge for cassava and oil palm. Similarly, the rise has been attributed to new investment and greater attention to the global oil palm market, for instance. Similarly, the revival of the cotton and sugarcane industries highlights efforts to enhance agricultural diversification and sustainability. However, challenges remain, including inadequate infrastructure, poor access to modern technology, and inconsistent government policy, which have impaired full potential of Nigerian agriculture. The historical context also offers insight into the future trajectory of agricultural policies and investment needed to enhance productivity across all sectors. Nigeria's agricultural production and export capacity in post-colonial and modern era. In recent years, Nigeria has experienced a renewed interest in agricultural development, focusing on key commodities such as cassava, groundnut, palm oil, and maize. These crops have become central to both local food security and international trade. Figures 19 to 24 present various comparisons of agricultural production scenarios, post-colonial to modern era, and the economic performance of some crops, as well as analysis of comparative advantages of crops like maize, cassava, and groundnut. The export trend of selected crops is also highlighted. The bar chart compared agricultural production across different eras, colonial, post-colonial, and modern, reveals significant shift in the output of different crops. For example, the production of cassava and groundnut has grown significantly in the modern era, highlighting improvements in agricultural technology and expansion of cultivated land. Conversely, some commodities like cotton and rice have not experienced the same level of growth, which could be attributed to several factors, such as climate conditions, market demand, investment in agricultural practices, smuggling and lack of protection of homegrown products, and near comatose of the manufacturing sector for imported finished goods. Agricultural export trends 1999 to 2024. The colonial legacies are gradually being obliterated as the export value trends shown in figure 25 for cassava, groundnut, maize, and oil palm clearly illustrate a positive growth trajectory for all commodities from 1999 to 2024. Palm oil shows the most significant increase, reflecting Nigeria's growing export capacity and global demand for oil palm. This growth is attributed to expansion of oil palm plantations and improved processing facilities. Groundnut, maize, cassava comparative production versus export. Also, the bar chart comparing groundnut, maize, and cassava production versus export in 2016 and 2022 emphasizes the disparity between production and export values. For instance, while cassava production remained steady, its export potential increased, which indicates the growing international demand for cassava. On the other hand, maize has considerable production increase, but a smaller increase in exports, likely due to domestic consumption and competition for the global market. The comparative analysis and production versus export highlight, while production has increased for many crops, the proportion of crops being exported remains low. In figure 26, the gaps can be attributed to logistical challenges, lack of adequate storage facilities, and poor market integration. The implementation of value-added processing of crops, such as cassava and groundnuts, could have helped improve the situation. Cocoa production versus export. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, this will interest you because cocoa is very dear to us as a country. In the colonial era pre-1960, it shows relatively low production levels, averaging 75,000 metric tons. The 1960s marked the peak of cocoa production, reaching approximately 300,000 metric tons, when Nigeria was the second largest producer. A steep decline followed in the 1970s and 1980s due to the oil boom, with production dropping to about 150,000 metric tons. The 1920s saw a partial recovery, leveraging 225,000 metric tons, while the 2020s present period, which shows fluctuating production between 250,000 and 350,000 metric tons. Figure target set for 2025 is 500,000 metric tons, indicating a potential resurgence in the production. The export value in figure 28 shows that in the 1990s and 2000s, cocoa export earnings stood at approximately 500 million, growing to over 800 million in the 2010s to the present. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I know if value addition has been in the cocoa industry, we will not be exporting, we would have added value. Evaluation of government response to agricultural sector in Nigeria. Over the years, Nigeria has churned out many programs, policies, interventions aimed at revamping the agricultural sector. Few of these interventions are presented here by era. 1970 to 1985 era of change. Throughout this time frame, a number of agricultural policies were implemented, including National Accelerated Food Production Program, Operation Feed the Nation, the Green Revolution, launched by Atthairu Jega, and then Professor General Obasanjo's Operation Feed the Nation. All this introduction, including the irrigation policy, resulting in the establishment of River Basin Development Authorities in 1977 to boost agriculture production by utilizing nation's water resources to address food insufficiency. The SAP era, 1986-1932. Surprisingly, the SAP era, introduced in 1986, was another major turning point in Nigeria's agricultural sector. The SAP, driven by neoliberal policies, sought to liberalize economy by reducing government intervention and encouraging private sector participation. The era briefly witnessed Nigeria as a net exporter of agricultural commodities, although short-lived, through the policy framework aimed to stimulate agricultural growth. It had adverse effects on small-scale farmers who lacked the capital and resources to compete in a liberalized market. The 1992-1999 post-SAP era. The era was characterized by notable political upheavals that adversely affect economic and development planning. The administration of Chief Electoral, General Sani Abacha, and General Sulana Abubakar had analogous issues where political stability was at the expense of economic and agricultural advancement. The effect of this on agricultural productivity was significant. It was characterized by reduced crop yield, which exacerbated rural poverty, since smallholder farmers were deprived of finance, extension services, and input necessary for productivity. This negligence worsened reliance on food imports, undermining Nigeria's agricultural self-sufficiency, and highlighting susceptibility to global food price fluctuations. The new democratic era, 1999 to date. The restoration of democracy in 1999 elicited a fresh focus on agriculture, with numerous initiatives that have been implemented to stimulate growth in Nigerian agriculture industry. Since the advent of democracy, The administration of President Olusegun Obasanjo launched presidential initiatives on certain agricultural commodities, including presidential initiatives on cassava, rice in 2002, intended to enhance production and leveraging value chain opportunities. Under the brief Umar Musa Yar'Adua government, the Commercial Agricultural Development Program (CAD) was established to enhance agricultural output and improve market access for certain value chains among small and medium-scale commercial farmers. The subsequent administration of President Goodluck Jonathan enacted the agricultural transformation agenda with the Green Alternative. The administration of President Muhammadu Buhari initiated agricultural promotion policy between 2016 and 2020, and the current administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu via the Prime Minister of Agriculture has initiated food security, introduced the harmonized extension manual and the national extension policy to deliver practical, effective, efficient, and demand-driven market-oriented extension services to all stakeholders. And the latest is the digital extension platform that was recently launched. The Nigerian government has tried to modernize agriculture via policy efforts, such as agricultural promotion policy and corporate fraud. Nevertheless, outcomes have been constrained. Obstacles remain, particularly in infrastructure, which is essential for the advancement of agricultural industry. Inadequate infrastructure limit farmers' access to broader market, which results in considerable harvest losses, especially for perishable products. In the absence of sufficient storage facilities, farmers sometimes must sell their goods immediately post-harvest, resulting in market saturation and lower pricing, thereby decreasing their potential income. In the second segment of this series of the university lecture, we shall be looking at decolonization as a golden key to unlocking food security, an example of emerging champions of this cause in Nigeria, based on the characterization of decolonizing food security in Nigeria, and drawing examples from national, state, and private initiatives to decolonize food security in an attempt to combat food insecurity, thereby achieving food sovereignty for Nigeria. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, sir, by your leave, sir, let me acknowledge Professor Atthairu Jega, who I know is the co-chairman of Presidential Livestock Initiative. Sir, we appreciate you. Let me also acknowledge the representative of President Muhammadu Buhari, Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, sir. We are happy and thank you for this honor. I know President Muhammadu Buhari sent the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Agriculture, Dr. Umar, when I delivered my inaugural lecture in 2011. So I'm not surprised, sir. You are here, sir. And all those who are coming next, we wish you more information. Thank you and God bless you. Thank you. Thank you.